Hello, Lettermen Row watchers, listeners, followers, readers. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Birminology on Lettermen Row. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. Got a special guest today, former Ohio State standout, current Washington Redskins standout, first team all-rookie,
Oh man.
Terry McLaurin. Terry, thank you for taking some time and joining Lettermen Row for this episode. It's special. I mean, you know, I'm fond of you. You're one of my all-time favorites from people that I got to know covering recruiting. And I was thinking about it earlier today. We've now known each other for like 7 years.
Yeah, I know.
That's a third of your life.
I know. That's crazy. They say if you know somebody over like 6 or 7 years, then they have a good chance of being a lifetime friend. So,
well, I don't know if we're going to get that far, but I like you. I don't know if I like you that much. Terry, your season in Washington, obviously you guys didn't have the type of year you wanted from a winning standpoint.
Mhm.
But it's a program that's built on a lot of young guys like yourself and Dwayne. You, I don't want to say took the NFL by surprise, but you did, right? I mean,
yeah.
Did it surprise you at all how this rookie campaign went for you? Because, I think that you know that you're a hardworking dude and you're talented, but did it go better than you thought it would go?
To say I would, be all rookie, that was a goal of mine. I knew that was kind of based on where I fit in the offense of the team that drafted me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, going through the whole process, I felt like I was prepared. I felt like I was a guy who was asked to do certain things at Ohio State, and I excelled well at those things. And it helped us win a lot of games. I don't regret my role at all, being special teams guy, a leader, and a guy who can make big plays. But, I knew if I got a chance to kind of really showcase my abilities more, I felt like I could be a number one or a top receiver in this league. Now, I knew a lot of work was going to come with that, but I've been praying really hard and working even harder to make it happen. So I was fortunate to be in a situation with, the Redskins where, they've had some injuries in the past, and there's just an opening for a young guy to step up. And I saw myself, once I knew I was going to be there, draft night, I saw myself as an opportunity to come in and help. And I didn't necessarily come in and be like, hey, I'm about to be the number one right off the bat, but how things transpired, and I just wanted to help the team, and, the rest was history.
Do you know how many catches you had in your Ohio State career?
Total?
Yep.
Not a whole lot.
75 catches. 75 catches in 4 years at Ohio State.
Yeah.
And a total of just over 1,250 yards in your career.
Wow.
In your rookie season in Washington, you finished with 58 catches, 919 yards, 7 touchdowns. And how many punts did you down at the 1 yard line this year in Washington?
That was the ironic part. I didn't play it down to special teams this year. I came in willing and ready, but I was producing so much on the offensive side of the ball. I started being our number one wide receiver, so that was a little different. But I always was in contact with our special teams coach, and I was still learning special teams throughout the season.
How hard is that? I mean, you spent the last 4 years at Ohio State, and the message is very simple: the best players play on special teams.
Right.
That is your job to help the team win in that role. And like, you get to Washington, don't you want to do that stuff still? I mean, because it always looked to me like when you're playing on the gun or on punt return and stuff, like you seem like you were enjoying it, right?
I've always been a guy of embrace whatever role it was. So once they determined I wasn't going to be necessarily needed on special teams, and I focused solely on being our best receiver. That's what I wanted to be for our team. At Ohio State, we had a multitude of weapons, so that was just a little bit different. I wasn't necessarily asked to be the guy, but I was a guy who made some plays, and if I could help on special teams, I was going to do that because I knew the importance of it over the course of a game.
Your season, obviously, like I said, you started off on fire. You kind of blew everyone's mind in the first 2 months of the year, and then the NFL grind starts to happen.
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins obviously becomes your quarterback midway through the year. What did you see out of Dwayne from the first game that he came in to the last game of the season that helps you feel confident that he's going to be the guy moving forward for you, even though, there's a new coach coming in and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, I've have a unique perspective on Dwayne because I know him on a more of a personal level than some other people in our organization. And then, just out there as fans. But, we were together pretty much every day until the season started after camp, being roommates and things like that. But I mean, to see his maturation from the first day of camp to where he ended off in the season was, spectacular. It didn't catch me by surprise necessarily. Playing that position is a lot different than coming in as a rookie wide receiver and starting. That position is probably the hardest, not even probably the hardest position, in my opinion, on the field, especially as a rookie. And, when Case went down, we needed a guy to step up. And just to see his maturation over time, he got better each and every week. The more reps he got was really what really turned the tide for him, because being a backup, you don't necessarily get the same looks as you would as if you're the starter.
Now, isn't there a moment for you where you're like, oh my God, I have to be Big Brother again? Like, were you looking forward to that? Like, you're both rookies, but here you are. Obviously, you have more of a veteran presence. I don't know, just because 5 years of college ball as opposed to one real year of playing for Dwayne. Like, was that part of the Redskins organization, thinking to say, hey, Terry, you need to bring this guy along? I don't want to speak for them. Obviously, like I said, there has been some changes in the organization there, but was that part of it?
I can't say that officially, but hopefully they saw myself as a guy who was a leader and respected amongst my peers at Ohio State and my quarterback, Dwayne, at the time. And, like you said, while we're still rookies, I kind of have people say I have an old soul. So I kind of tried to encourage him as much as possible because, our roles were different at Ohio State. And now, I was a starting receiver, but that's still my guy. And he wasn't necessarily starting yet, but he continued to work. He continued to try to keep his head down and get better. And I just tried to encourage him where I was. But at the same time, when I felt like, he could do more and give us more, I was challenging him. I felt like he tried to do the same for me. Oftentimes we kind of try to coddle the people that we care about, but honestly, we just needed the truth. So he's told me the truth. I told him the truth in situations, and I can't be more proud of where he is.
Speaking, quarterbacks at Ohio State, you came in with Braxton Miller as the guy you thought was going to be the starting quarterback your freshman season.
Right.
Braxton tears his shoulder. JT steps up. JT breaks his ankle. Cardale steps up. You win the national championship. Cardale's the starter. Then JT's the starter. Braxton's now playing wide receiver. JT gets a silly Halloween issue. Cardale's the starter. 2 weeks later, JT's the starter. Then you have JT and then Dwayne and Joe Burrow. How hard was it for you guys in that wide receiver room, despite the fact that you had a lot of very mature guys like yourself, Devin Smith, Mike Thomas, Paris Campbell, Johnny Dixon? You had a lot of guys that I think were emotionally ready to handle all of the changes. But how difficult was it for you guys to deal with the constant uncertainty about who the hell your quarterback was going to be every week?
Yeah, in the back of your mind is obviously there because you try to spend all the off season that you get away from your coaches, building that chemistry and building that bond. But at the same time, we worked with all the quarterbacks that ended up being starters at their time, and we felt comfortable with whoever was going to be in there. So in our mindset as receivers, our job is to make the quarterback's job easy, whoever that is. So our coaches try to put that quarterback in the best situation to be successful, call plays to their strengths, and as playmakers, we just wanted to make the plays when they came, really.
Who was the quarterback that you liked catching the football from the most? Either the way it came out of his hand, the way it hit yours, the way it spun. Who was the guy that you were like, that was the easiest ball to catch, or the preference?
I liked them all for different reasons. I didn't really get to catch too much from Braxton, but Cardale had that fastball that can, as soon as you turn your head, it's going to be there. Dwayne, I really like his deep ball and the arc that he puts on it allows a fast guy like me to track it. And JT had that touch to fit it over that Mike linebacker and cover two, or fit things in such a window that you're like, man, how do you do that? So you need all that in a quarterback, and we really had the luxury of having it all.
I'm of the mindset that you and Johnny and Paris decided to return in 2018 because you knew you were going to have the chance to play with Dwayne. And knew that meant the offense at Ohio State could be changing a little bit. On Monday night, this past Monday, we watched Joe Burrow win a national championship, and the guy that a lot of people thought was competing with Dwayne. What was it about Dwayne, from your vantage point on the field as a teammate, that gave him the edge over Joe at that time? Because I think obviously a lot of fans are going to look back over these last 2 years and what could have been, what could have happened, and what could have been different.
Yeah.
Why was it that Dwayne was the guy?
Well, I felt like Coach Meyer, felt like that was the best thing for the team. We felt like as receivers in the team, honestly, we couldn't lose. Like, we knew if it was Joe or Dwayne, we could not lose. And as receivers, that made us really excited. And, I can't speak on personally how the coaches felt, but we felt like they were neck and neck with the battle. And then what was unfortunate was, Joe was playing probably his best ball, and he broke, I believe it was his wrist or his hand in camp. And that kind of
Chris Worley's helmet.
It threw everything off because everything was truly even and during that time period. And, Joe lose out on those reps at a period of time where we're trying to get ready to win a game. And, Dwayne just kept ascending. So it was nothing against Joe at all. I would have loved to see how it played out towards the end, but I felt like possibly the injury had something to do with it. But Dwayne was a guy that we felt comfortable with going forward.
And Dwayne then goes in Ann Arbor when JT gets hit by the camera, and wins the game against Michigan. And then the rest is history. He throws 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. It's like you wonder, how do people complain about that? How do you even revisionist history? You can't be like, well, they made the wrong choice because he threw for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, and then you get 2 years of Justin Fields. I know you've been back to Columbus. Have you had a chance to get to know Justin at all in this new group of receivers? And what's been your impression of the job that Brian Hartline has done with this new group? It's different, because you and KJ and Johnny and Paris, you guys were a veteran group when Hartline took over for Zach Smith. What have you seen out of this young group that gives you confidence that your legacy is being carried on?
Just the way they attack the little things like top ends and catching jugs and blocking. I mean, those are three things I feel like right there just kind of show you the mentality of what they stand for, blocking, being tough, and just the drills that they're working on to get better, the little things that may not show up, in every game, but it may show up in the game that matters most. And I remember Coach Hartline promising Johnny, me, and Paris about keeping the culture the same as how we left it and continue to build on it and make it stronger. And he promised to bring the best guys in, and look at him. He's doing that. And that's a testament to him. I feel like it's a testament to the legacy that the three seniors left, as well as the guys came before us. So we don't want to take all the credit as well, because when you walk in that room and the way it was set up, you see a whole bunch of greats on the back of the wall if you've ever been there. And you learn, like, wow, I really want to be that guy. I really want to be a part of that team or that room to be great. So I feel like that expectation as well is in your mind before you even put on the hat to go to Ohio State. So you already know, but Coach Hartline really enhances that even more. And he's been in our shoes, which gives him, immense credibility.
Have you spoken to Chris Olave since the Fiesta Bowl?
I have. Me and Chris have talked actually a lot since that time. And, he's doing pretty good, but, he's down what had happened. And Chris is always going to be a little brother to me. So, he's already working on next year, weight and all that. So
how do you – I think it's impossible for people who haven't been in that inner circle. Like, how does that conversation go? Because as a receiver – what he's dealing with on that route. He knows that he shouldn't have broke it off. Yeah. But you're just trying to make a play. Right. Like how does that conversation go, I guess? And what is what's the brotherly advice and what's the peer-to-peer advice as now a guy in the NFL making big time catches in the league? Like how do you teach him from that?
Yeah. I didn't really get into specifics with him, what he saw or anything like that, so I can't speak on that aspect of it. But in the receiver's mind, you're just trying to make a play at the end of the day. You know, I can't tell you the look, I can't tell you the play, anything like that. But I know you got two guys, a guy like Justin, who was going to his favorite receiver, that he has great success with, Chris. And, you know, it just didn't work out on that play. You just hate for it to be in a critical moment like that. But I have no doubt Justin will bounce back. Chris will bounce back even stronger, because while I may not have a similar situation to Chris as that, but I've had some adversity I just try to share him with. And, you know, you got to know you're always going to come back on the rise once you've taken a fall. And it seems like when you're riding high, it's easy to enjoy the highs and things like that. But are you still thankful for the lessons that you learn when you're down low? And that's why I really wanted to encourage him. And I know he'll probably be one of the top receivers next year in the whole country, as well as Justin being one of the top quarterbacks. So I know that's going to fuel him and not take anything for granted, and probably even give him even more attention to detail.
You had, when you enrolled early in January 2014, you were one of 7 guys that came into your class. It was you and Kurt, and Raekwon, Johnny, Stephen Collier, I think Kyle Trout. I don't know who else.
Yeah.
That group, you guys became so important to the fabric of the program, which was rare because true freshmen coming in generally don't include game changers or difference makers in a program.
Right.
This year, Ohio State now, 2 weeks ago, welcomed in 14 early enrollees, right? So 15% of the roster is now freshmen who enrolled early, including 4 receivers. How valuable was the early enrollment for you? How challenging is that for guys to make an actual impact as a freshman? And what is the advice or the life lesson that if you get a chance to sit down and talk to Julian Fleming and G. Scott and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Mookie Cooper and these other freshmen, what do you impart on them? What's the advice?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna give advice from my perspective because I didn't necessarily come in early. I came in the summer, but the difference that I saw in Curtis and Johnny's game and mine when I first got there was a difference. And you all have hopes and aspirations. And, to be honest, the coaches try to get your mind right and your body right to get there and play right away in the summer. But those guys who would come in and play in the summer as a true freshman, I tip my hat to them because you got to get adjusted to so much as well as classes and things like that. And then perform on a stage such as Ohio State. So I feel like that extra time does give those guys a chance to get acclimated and be ready for, spring ball to get a jump start for camp. So
yeah, you get that first opportunity to play in the horseshoe
exactly,
and know what 75, 80,000 people for a practice feels like.
Exactly.
But do you wish that Cathedral would have had that opportunity for you? I mean, I know a lot of the private schools around the country don't offer that, and it does make a difference, right? I mean, that's a game-changing moment for a freshman.
No doubt it is. And but at the same time, I mean, I felt like when I first got there, I really wanted to come early. And then I saw my journey was really hard at the beginning. I was like, man, I'm glad I got to enjoy being a high school senior and go to my prom and things like that. I felt like that was what was best for me, even if Cathedral would have allowed that. I would have tried, but I think I wouldn't have necessarily enjoyed it like I did my journey, how it played out. So I think to each is their own. If a guy feels like they can handle it and the coaching staff feels like that as well, then they should be somebody who has that opportunity. But I don't think guys should necessarily feel bad if they don't necessarily get that opportunity as well.
Do you ever? I mean, you're in the NFL now. You're done with your rookie season. You are making money to play football.
Right.
The road you took to Ohio State, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, you and I. And
right.
Do you ever look back and just shake your head and be like, "Holy crap! How different could that have been for your?" I mean, maybe 2020, as maybe you would have gone to Purdue in the year 2020 if the program back then wasn't where it is now at Purdue or in Indiana.
Right.
But you went out on a limb and bet on yourself that you would get the Ohio State offer. When you think back on it, what is the one thing that you take away from this entire journey and moving forward?
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself, I guess?
Just how strong my faith is, one, and two, just good things come to those who work really hard and believe and have faith. I feel like not only in their self or a higher power, but for me, I knew I was a guy who was willing to work hard. I was a guy who was unselfish, and I feel like I brought value to any team or organization. And that challenge that I got from Coach Meyer, I didn't really have any intentions of committing as quick as I did after that. But after my visit and talking to him, and I just knew out of my college experience, guys don't go in knowing what, how do I know is this place perfect for me? But I knew I wanted to be somewhere I was going to be maximized as a person, as a student, and all around, and have a chance to play in the NFL and be around the best. And I wouldn't change my journey at all. So.
And now Urban Meyer talks about you like you're Tim Tebow. Like you're Ohio State's Tim Tebow.
Yeah, there's a lot of greats outside of me. Me and Coach Meyer still have a great relationship to this day. But I think it's just the person you try to be in the sense of being yourself, being somebody who's respected and works hard, and people take account to that. And I feel like once I started putting myself to the side, because it's so hard at Ohio State. Everybody wants to be the guy. Right. You come from being the guy at your high school, and but embracing your role, whatever that is on the team, I try to preach that to those guys that I still talk to on the team. You may be the gunner, but be the best gunner. You know what I mean? Because everybody plays an intricate role, and you earn that respect from the other guys by giving 110% to whatever your role is.
Did you wear number 25 at Cathedral because of Rocket Ishmael?
Nah, to be honest.
Do you even know who Rocket Ishmael is?
No, I do. He played for Notre Dame. Yeah. I didn't choose that number. It was kind of given to me, and so I kind of just really kept it. And then it's kind of weird now. I kind of wanted it before I got to Ohio State, but somebody had it. So.
Well, last thing, Terry, I enjoy talking to you, so I could keep going, but you were recruited by Urban Meyer. The challenge was one thing, right? But like the guy who was your recruiting liaison, your primary recruiter was Kerry Combs, who obviously didn't coach your position. But Kerry's now in the NFL, and I don't know if you played the Titans or not this year, but I'm sure if you did, he would have enjoyed scheming against you.
Yeah.
Kerry now, there's a lot of rumor, speculation that he may end up back at Ohio State to replace Jeff Hafley. What was it about him that made him so, I don't know, real as a recruiter, that made him someone that you were like, I totally buy in and trust this guy?
Yeah. Well, he's genuine, and people just throw real out there. I think he's just genuine. I think genuine is better than being real personally. But he was a guy you knew who had a track record of having success. That was one. A guy who you knew loved you as a person and loved your family and wanted the best for you. And he wasn't going to be easy on you. And it seemed like the guys who he recruited he was harder on those guys even more. Me, Damon Webb, guys like that. And Coach Combs and I still communicate to this day. He congratulated me on, my success of this year and wished me a Merry Christmas. And I congratulated him on the season that they're having. And, a guy like that is invaluable, whether he's your special teams coach, whether he's your quarterbacks coach, whether he's your DB, whatever Coach Combs is, every team needs one. So he's just going to improve your organization and your team. So I hope he does what's best for his family, and I hope it works out for Ohio State and everybody involved. But you can't put words and a price on Coach Combs.
Now, well, he just wants to win a Super Bowl maybe before any sort of decisions come up.
I guarantee it.
Well, look, man, Terry, thank you so much for joining this episode of Birminology and Lettermen Row. We love your success. We're so happy for you. And anytime that you want to swing by the Lettermen Row office when you're in Columbus, let us know. And we would be more than happy to get you some swag, because we can do that now, like we can actually give you stuff now, as opposed to, but before I couldn't even ask, if I can get you a picture of yourself. So, listen, thanks so much, man. Keep up all the hard work and the success, and we will be in touch.
No doubt. I appreciate you guys for having me and all the support you've always given me. And I'm big fans of you guys, and continue to make Ohio State strong.
Thanks, Terry. See ya.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.